welcome back to the Chambercast. I am your host, Jay Heisch, and I got in the studio with me this morning, I have Brooke Grossman. How are you, Brooke?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. Representing the Horizon Goodwill Industries here in the Washington County area, or all throughout Maryland?
So interesting thing about Goodwills, right, is there are 152 different Goodwills across the country.
Right.
But Horizon Goodwill, we are headquartered here in Hagerstown, Maryland, but we actually have 17 counties across 4 states. So we have the 3 western counties in Maryland, some territory in Pennsylvania, some territory in West Virginia, and some territory in Virginia. So 17 counties in 4 states.
Right. Wow. You guys are all over the place.
We try to be.
There you go. That's a good thing, right? A little background on the operational side with you. How long have you been with
Goodwill?
Goodwill, yeah.
So I started with Horizon Goodwill actually 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I was in a different role then. I have been the chief mission officer there for 4 years now. So I started that role right in the beginning of 2020. So we can all imagine how fun it was to start a new job about 90 days before the world changed forever.
Sure, absolutely. Crazy times. Well, I know I see you guys out there. You're everywhere, which is a good thing. I know you're doing a lot of outreach. Let's start with the mobile outreach vehicle. What's that all about?
Sure. So probably about 6 months ago, we were able to secure some funding from the Governor's Office of Crime Control and Prevention, really recognizing that we have access issues sometimes in town. We have people that maybe live in rural areas, or we have people who just can't get to services in town. And so they helped to fund a mobile unit for us, not just a van, right? But this is actually equipped with Wi-Fi and computers and televisions and things like that. So we can take training to people, or we could take job applications to people, or other resources that they may need that they don't have.
Right.
And so that unit is out 5 days a week.
All right, there it is. All over the place.
All over the place, really looking at pockets of need. We recently went out to like McCleary Hill, the new housing program or project out off Western Maryland Parkway, because some of those folks have limited access to transportation. So we brought our team out that way. So it's really just about kind of meeting people where they are.
I gotcha. How big is the mobile fleet?
It's 1 unit now.
1 unit? Oh,
we would love to see more, but one
that?
of those things is proof of concept, right? So you have to start and have some outcomes and then be able to prove that it's worth investing further in.
Absolutely. That makes sense. All right. The breakfast program, what's that all about?
Sure. So that's another one actually that really spurned during that 2020 experience that we were having was, businesses were closing and the library was closed and shelters were closed and lots of different things were happening. We recognized that people need to eat, right? And the morning time is one of the times where they're probably most vulnerable if they're switching from they slept on somebody's couch last night or whatever. And so we do still now 3 days a week breakfast at our location at 200 North Prospect Street.
Okay.
And what we've done is, though, that has grown to where we now have Meredith's mobile health unit is there with us. So somebody comes and maybe they're just not feeling good that morning and they want to have their blood pressure checked or something like that. Social services comes out. We have representatives from the health department. It's kind of everybody saying, come meet us, get something to eat. But if there's other resources you need this morning, we're here for you.
Gotcha. Okay. And here we are. We're breaking ground here in Hagerstown on the grocery store.
Yep. So you might have seen we have 2 small stores already in town, right? One located in the C.W. Brooks building, and the other in Walnut Towers.
Okay.
And so kind of the cool thing about this building I was talking about at 200 North Prospect Street is where the mobile outreach team runs out of, where that breakfast program is that we're trying to turn that building into kind of as much of a one-stop shop as we can for the community. We have a full brick and mortar medical office in there too.
Oh, that's cool.
Some of our other programs, we're putting in the center of that building just about an 8,000 square foot grocery store.
Okay.
And so people have heard about this for a while, and much like many
haven't we been in there? We did a chamber.
You
Bash
did.
Event in there,
so that spot that you were in, that whole little middle area is going to become the grocery store.
Okay.
And so we are finally through all of the architectural drawings and the permit process and all of that. And we're looking to break ground probably in the next couple of weeks. So I'll encourage everybody that's listening to keep an eye out from the chamber to invite them to be part of that.
Absolutely. All right. Youth housing program.
Okay.
Fire away.
Yeah. So that's another one where, I think we talk about in Washington County a lot where we're seeing our young people maybe not launch into adulthood. We have a large number of 16 to 24-year-olds that maybe finished high school but haven't gone to work, haven't gone to college. Sure. A lot of them are experiencing housing insecurity too. So we currently have a 10-unit facility for those young people to come kind of live in and start to work through the issues that might be preventing them from going to work or
Gotcha.
going to school. The volume of need is expanding, and so we have two separate grant opportunities. One is allowing us to add 6 more single units, and another a group that we're seeing in that population that. Sad but true are people under the age of 24 that are already parents themselves, right? Who don't have, they and their children don't have a place to live. And so it'll also allow us to add 3 family units.
Okay.
So we'll almost double the program by
Wow.
the end of this year, which is really exciting for us. And we have some really great outcomes from that. One
Right.
of our most, we celebrated our Power of Work Awards this year, a young man named Sean who came to us from juvenile detention. And lived in our program for about a year and a half and got a lot of support, who's now at Hood College on a full ride, really moving
Wow.
into those next steps in his life. So that's the goal of what we're doing there.
Nice. Okay. Good moves there. I'm going down the list of things here. There's a lot of stuff going on with you there, Brooke. So, Refind.
Sure. So if you have
Refind.
not been to Refind in Smithsburg, have you ever been to Refind in
No, I
Smithsburg?
never heard
Okay,
of it.
so now you have homework day.
Okay.
So the
Refind.
Refind store is in Smithsburg. So it's in the shopping center. I think there's a Martin's grocery store there and a
Okay.
CVS there and a Dunkin'. Probably everybody knows the Dunkin' Donuts is
Right,
there. And it's a smaller store, but it's more like a boutique store. People that have been around the city for a long time might remember when we did. I think it was called the Blue Door.
Okay.
That was where Fresh Academics is
Oh,
now.
yeah.
And it was very popular. And so this is more like a curated store of items, unlike a general Goodwill store where you're going to kind of
Okay.
go through and pick and find. So it's kind of cooler finds, if you
get
will.
you, yeah.
And then that
A little
location,
more filtered.
it's filtered, and maybe you might find a pair, a Coach bag there or something like
All right.
that you might not find in a traditional store.
Goodwill store, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And so we have that location. That's also a donation center. So it's also for people who are out in that part of the county who maybe don't want to travel into town.
Sure.
It's a place to roll up in the back and drop off your donations.
Nice. How's the donations going? You get lots and lots?
We do. We do. But we will always take more.
Oh,
so
I know.
one of the
You're not
things.
going to turn it away. I'm just asking. Was there
Sure,
a lot of
sure.
people
And
that
it's,
donated?
it ebbs and flows. Summertime is always a big donation time because
Yeah.
yard sales and people
Sure.
drop stuff off at the yard after yard sales. We'll have the big mile-long yard sale coming up in just a couple of weeks, right? Which is a big day for us. But what a lot of people don't know is all those programs we just talked about, right, are funded by their donations
Oh, yeah.
for the most part.
Right.
That's what a social enterprise does. So as a social enterprise, we take those things that you give to us, we sell them, and then that money is reinvested back into our communities. I know
Gotcha.
there's stories out there that say maybe our CEO has a boat and an
I've heard all
airplane and
that,
things
yeah.
like that, but that's not reality. So just
Okay.
about 90 cents of every dollar that's spent in one of our stores comes back into funding the programs that we provide in those 4 states and 17 counties.
There you go. For all those naysayers, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard all those rumors too.
Well, no, I mean, we all
wasn't gonna
have Facebook,
I
right?
wasn't going to bring it up, but I mean, I don't know
That's
what's
okay.
true or not. So why would I even go there?
Sure,
So,
sure.
Anyway, corner store.
Uh-huh.
What's that?
So that's the 2 small stores I was telling you about.
Okay.
So one of the things a couple of years ago, as people who are listening may or may not know, I bet you've heard this term when you're talking about the city of Hagerstown, is that we're a food desert.
Right. I have heard
And
that.
so that means that for folks that have limited access to transportation, we have limited access to fresh, affordable food. And so a lot of people rely on like convenience marts to shop,
Right.
or might, spend hours on the bus going
Right.
to the grocery store. And so that convenient mart model provides them
Right.
limited access, right? Maybe it's ramen or a gallon of milk costs 3 times what it costs if I could go to Aldi, but I can't
Right.
get there. So we partnered with the Housing Authority a few years ago and added a store into the CW Brooks building, which is right there by the baseball stadium.
Okay.
But the nice thing about that store, there are fruits and vegetables and salads and things. There's traditional, stuff in there. You're not going to not get a Butterfinger if you
Right.
go, but there's options to get those other items.
Right.
We also keep the cost lower so that folks who might be on limited income,
Right.
are able to expand like their
Right.
purchase and kind of stretch their dollar. And that location is also open to anyone that would be in that area that would like to walk in, and they do deliveries from there.
Okay.
And then we have another one that's the larger, the next one, the next iteration is the one that's at Walnut Towers now.
Okay.
Same thing if you're coming down West Washington Street, you'll
Right.
see it right there on the corner.
Okay.
And then those 2 will complement the large grocery store that's going at 200 North Prospect Street.
Gotcha. So it's all about access.
Well, it is, right?
Right,
If
of
you're
course.
on foot,
Right.
you know, one of the things that just always breaks my heart as a person who lives in the city is when I am driving down Dual Highway and I see somebody carrying their groceries on the side of the highway.
Right.
Right. And I know that there might be eggs in there, or there might be
Right.
milk or
And that's
things
because
like
they
that.
couldn't get it at home
Right.
downtown.
How long are they going to have that exposed to the heat or whatever
Getcha.
before they can get
Yeah.
home? So this allows access and walkable access to those things for folks.
Exactly. Right. Okay. Moving on here. You are receiving an award for a community-owned health plan. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay.
So,
What's going on?
So one of the things as chief mission officer and really as Goodwill as an organization is
Right.
we're about serving the community, but we're also about serving the people that work for us. And so a community-owned health plan, again, for folks that are listening that maybe don't know, means that we as an organization have a fully self-funded health plan.
Right.
So we don't have a banner on our cards that says
Right.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield or things like that.
Right.
So we have a broker that we work very closely with that helps us to negotiate pricing.
Okay.
We do some concierge like pharmacy services and some concierge direct primary care services.
Right.
And through that, as an organization, we've saved a significant amount of money. You wouldn't think it would be that way. You would
Right.
think it would be more expensive, but kind of bucking that traditional healthcare system or health insurance system, not
Right.
healthcare system. And what we have found through that was partially the savings was significant enough that it allowed us to reinvest in our employees and pay for vision and dental for all of our employees for
Right.
free. So to provide that resource, right? So again, that kind of looking inward and being
Right.
people centered there. But the plan also has resulted in us having a healthier workforce because
Wow.
our employees are more engaged in their healthcare,
Sure.
feel more like, I mean, how many people out there who run a small business or a
Oh,
large
it's
business
rough.
have had employees who
Yeah.
say, I don't go to the doctor because it's going to cost me money, or I only go when something is catastrophic, and then it's super
Exactly.
expensive for the employer, it's super expensive for the employee.
Exactly.
And it's a kind of a lose-lose situation. So we have employees now who are going, no, I'm going regularly, I'm calling my doctor, I'm keeping up with things.
Right.
And so it's just a completely different kind of results for us.
Right.
And so we were recognized last year with the Rosie Award, and we just found out we're going to kind of be winning that again. It's a national award. So we're not the only
Right.
organization, but we were recognized across businesses across the country that do this kind of work.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
When you getting that?
September.
September. All right. 3 months, folks. It's June. Anyway.
Call Display J at ExpoNet USA for all your portable display and graphics needs. With printing facilities nationwide, Display J's got you covered on both sides of the country and anywhere in between. You've got a guy. Call Display J at 301-378-9363 or www.exponetusa.com. Also available on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
So, Brooke, as a member of the chamber through the Goodwill, Horizon Goodwill, what do you recommend to people who own a business or a nonprofit or an organization who are not in the chamber? What do you recommend about the chamber to them?
So there are several things I recommend about the chamber, frankly. One of them is just the wealth of information they are, right? If
Right.
I have a question, I can call and somebody at the chamber is going to give me an answer. And frankly, they'll do that even if you're not a member yet,
Right.
right? To just kind of help create that pathway for you.
Right.
The chamber ambassador program too, you know, if you're trying to start a small
Yep.
business or you're starting a nonprofit, they can connect you with someone who has that experience already, who can kind of like be your champion and your
Right.
networker and make those connections for
Right.
you, which I think is invaluable. And then you brought up one of the things I love the most about the chamber is the chamber bash, right?
Yeah.
Where you get to go and actually just see another business
Yeah,
or another
shake hands,
nonprofit
swap
and
cards, yeah.
right, swap
Talk to
cards, but
people.
also make connections
That's it.
because I can't tell you
Correct.
how many people I've met at a chamber bash
Yep.
who then I called later and said, "Hey, right, I met you at the chamber bash. I have this thing." Even I think C&M Lawns was here last week, right?
A couple weeks ago.
A couple weeks
Yeah.
ago, I met
Chandra,
them at
shout
the
out.
chamber bash, and
Yep.
now they mow my lawn.
There you go.
Right? So it's just that
Worked out.
connection is invaluable.
Absolutely. That's it, folks. There you have it. If you're not in the chamber, you need to be, right?
Yeah, I think you should absolutely at least like check it out, right? You have women empowered, you have boots and suits, you have
Yeah.
so many different opportunities
A whole bunch of
to
programs
learn.
going on.
Yeah.
Coffee and connections, right, Maddie? Yeah. She's nodding her head. Run down the list anyway. All right. Well, hey, Brooke, I want to thank you for coming on the Chamber Cast. We keep these nice and short with lots of information. Where do they reach out to you to get more information?
Sure. So if folks want to learn more about Goodwill, the easiest thing to do is to visit our website. So it's horizongoodwill.org, right? www. Or you can go to Horizon Goodwill Industries on Facebook. You get lots of information about programs and services we're offering, sales in the stores, all of that's running through those 2 pages. And so the website has all of our staff contact information on it.
That's it. Look it up. Check it out. And hey, I'm Jay Heish for Brooke Grossman.
Thanks
for joining us here in the Chamber Cast. We'll see you next time.
Great. Thank you.